Good morning, good afternoon, welcome to Cyber Sidekicks. It's day 4 of RSAC 2026, and I'm here with Christina Richmond, my co-host on Cyber Sidekicks. How are you?
We are so excited to be here, and yes, I'm doing well, losing my voice, as you can probably tell, and we've had a blast, and today we have a wonderful guest. Actually, we've decided to rename him Wonderful Guest.
A wonderful guest.
WG,
nice.
Also known as Dave Merkel, who is the founder and CEO of Expel. Welcome, Dave.
Yeah, good to be here.
We're so happy you're here.
Yeah. No, it's been quite a week, and this is the last thing on my agenda.
Yeah.
I wish it were the last thing on my agenda.
I'm sorry.
I have like 4 more meetings.
4 more
Oh my
meetings.
God.
Yeah, and then we're going to dinner. But
Yeah,
anyway,
we are. And I think you mentioned a burger and a pint earlier.
I did, yeah. So I had one, a little bit more, less fun conversation to have this morning, and I had a break between then and now, and so I went down to Louis on Stevenson because it is sort of the opposite of most things you go to at RSA, and I had a delicious burger and a pint, and now I'm right as rain.
Okay,
Excellent.
what kind of burger and what kind of pint?
Just a burger with some cheese, some fries, and then the pint was, I think it was from Berkeley somewhere, and it was called Doppelganger. It was actually a lager.
Oh, I think I've had that.
Is
delicious.
that, is that the beer hall you went to? No, it's not the beer hall.
No, he went to a restaurant called Louis,
Yeah,
down on
Louis.
Stevenson.
Ah, right,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just
So
a
the
bar
beer
down
hall is not far from here. That's a great one.
Oh, I believe
They
that.
have a whole section of like pilsners and lagers,
Yeah.
a section on IPAs, and then on others. They've got some really interesting stouts and ciders and things. So
So
I'll
really,
have to
that's
check
what
that
we're
out.
here to talk about.
Yeah,
Is beer,
we could
favorite
do that.
beers. We
It's
could.
RSA is almost over, so we could just make this a beer
We
podcast.
can make it beer cast.
The beer cast,
We've been
that's
talking
right.
about that, beer cast.
That works for me.
All right, let's switch to some real stuff.
we have to
can
talk
come-
about security, don't we?
Do we? Come on.
Well,
Killjoy.
All right, so I've been coming to RSA 20 years. You've been coming how long?
I don't even want to count. At least 20 years.
Okay, what were your impressions at the show?
So I only got to spend a little time on the show floor, and so most of my stories are coming via my crew, but definitely good engagement. And I've also talked to several CISOs that said, no, there's some people here that haven't come in several years.
Oh,
Right.
And clearly what's driving that is this is obviously the year of AI explosion at RSA, which may last for quite some time. So there were a lot of people here looking for education
yeah.
Right.
because they have a lot of poorly understood and unmet needs, and so starting to talk to vendors, seeing how the space is evolving. Which is great, right? Because people were showing up curious.
That is
Our
good.
team was consistently busy. We do have, now everybody, had rented a space at a wonderful restaurant out on 2nd
Nice.
to do meetings.
Nice.
So that's a good idea.
Yeah,
It-
and you also,
it
your
is.
booth looks lovely.
Oh,
We
thank
just
you.
happened to walk by it just by chance today, and I said, Rory, let's swing over this way so that we could see it.
Yeah.
And it looked really nice. We've been doing this, you've been doing this a long time, and the booth life is not for me.
It's tough.
I really like to go to the startup areas, and you like to go to the country pavilions.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, like the Flanders Pavilion, and there's a Taiwan Pavilion. Oh, very friendly and very excited to have people coming in.
Yeah.
And because it's a regional story in most cases. It's regional service providers, product development teams that are wanting to, expand their reach into other parts of the world, particularly North America and Canada, and are looking to try to kind of break out from their typical kind of regional infrastructure that they're kind of kept in.
Well, I mean, that's good to hear that we've got people from outside the U.S. coming to the U.S. wanting to expand to the U.S. I'll take that as a positive sign.
I'll take that as a positive
I'll
sign
take that,
too.
yeah.
And we'll take that conversation anywhere you want to go, either now or later.
However you'd like to do it.
We are very open. But I also, you talk about AI and agentic AI and people coming for education, and I think that's fair. I do. But I also think that there's a lot of same old that I'm seeing here
There's
at
no
the
question
show.
that also exists.
Yeah.
And
That-
so
yeah,
it's kind of
yeah.
like, oh my God, people, we still haven't figured this out, which you and I know, we know really well.
Oh, you want to get me started on that one? Okay.
Sure. Or politics, which do you prefer?
Awesome. Here, take
Do you want to
take
throw
this.
religion in?
Yeah, jump on in this briar patch, or this one over here.
Or the thorny patch over there, yeah.
I mean, there's no question. I mean, cyber can be. So I will start positive, right? So I'm channeling some of the people that around me that help manage my inner Irishman, who is always present and must be contained. But so starting with the positive is one of the coolest part about cyber is its real mission, right? I mean, there's not very many places in sort of private industry where you have a job where you combat actual evil that is literally trying to hurt people.
Yeah.
That's very unique. That usually only happens if you're a first responder, military, what have you.
Yes.
And we're actually the front line in this domain because
and I love
government
that
can't
about
be.
this industry. I love it.
It is unique and it's hard to describe to people that have never really been in its orbit.
And but with that, if I can interject here, with that there is this heart. There is this need to educate.
Yeah.
There is this need to help, this need to protect. And it's not just like militaristic mission, which I know you don't mean.
No, I don't. But it's or we could change the word. I'm former military, so I always use military euphemisms, but calling.
If
you prefer that word.
I like that.
If you prefer that word, and that's the way I really mean it. Where you're motivated by the fact that what you do matters in a way that is, yes, it's still important to the business and its bottom line, but it's also important in a way that actually protects people at the end of the day. Like, if your business goes kaput because you have a bunch of IRGC attackers send wipers into your medical devices company and wipe it to the ground, there's some people that are not going to get some paychecks.
That's right.
And so being on the front line of combating that is really cool.
It can be an extinction event for some companies.
It certainly can.
It certainly can be. And so again, back to that heart and that soul and that calling is really unique.
It is.
It is.
So that's a good part.
That is here we go.
Yeah, the bad part is there's no question that we seem to not retain the lessons of the past. And also this can happen in any industry. There will always be some that fail to innovate, and it could either be the same old in that we haven't fixed this problem yet. It could be the same old in that some percentage of vendors will fail to innovate and move along with the times. That's not unique to cyber.
Right.
It could be same old in that we learned a lesson, we made it better, and then as new technology comes out, AI, we make all the same mistakes again and think about identity, access control, data segregation. That's all out the window, and we're gonna get to go through that all over again.
We are going to go through it again, just like
early
Shadow
2000s.
Cloud, Shadow SaaS, Shadow IT, Shadow this, Shadow that, API, every single other technology.
And I get why. Like I was having a really good conversation, actually with several people on this topic, and they had a point of view that I actually agree with, but they said it really well, which is, okay, if you're a CEO right now, and you're looking at the level of disruption AI has in your business at large, right? You can either not do AI because you're concerned about the risk, and maybe that hurts you, or you can do AI and definitely have a shot at surviving, because if you don't do it, your competitors will extinguish you for sure.
And there's a middle point, which is do AI because you have that fear of missing out, but you do it poorly, and you introduce more risk. Right.
And right now, what's doing AI well, nobody can tell you.
Nobody can tell you.
From a risk standpoint.
Yeah, at least from a long-term basis.
That's
what we do now, who knows how that's going to come back and bite us on the proverbial in the future.
And who knows what capabilities are being fielded even 2 months from now.
Yeah,
so it's a very fast-moving target.
Exactly, and part of this, I think, it kind of goes into the realm on the quantum argument. So there was a session IBM did yesterday on quantum safety, or quantum safe approach. And the harvest now, decrypt later topic came up a lot. As in, there's all this data now that has been acquired by bad actors that will potentially be exposed in the future. How do you protect against that? Perhaps the AI tools and technologies will have developed by that point such that we can mitigate some of the risks associated with that exposure, but who knows?
I don't know how we mitigate. Once the bits are taken, and if it's not a quantum safe encryption algorithm, then those bits are cooked. You're done. So
that's right.
I don't know what we do about that. I think it's more about how do we manage the impact of that when the bad thing happens, because I don't think that we're going to be able to stop those things from occurring.
And then it comes down to governance and reputational risk management and recovery.
A good backup plan.
Yeah, right.
A good backup plan.
Yeah.
But it does, and one of the points that you make often is, what's old is new again and what's new is old again.
Yeah.
So many of the conversations, when you boil it down, come down to, good data hygiene, good AI hygiene, and now it's good quantum hygiene.
Yeah.
Those pieces of advice have been around for time immemorial, but folks still don't do it.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. So we had recently published our annual threat report, and there'll be some things, but again, the lessons we keep now learning.
You still have to quantify them, even if they're
you do, right? You totally do.
You have to track them.
So number one mechanism for customers getting compromised was identity. Okay, but if we kind of look at the sub elements of that, and we look at other categories, the sort of basics, the hygiene aspect was the kind of number one sort of mitigation aspect that had not been done well.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get people to focus on it because it's boring as heck.
It's boring.
It is really hard to get the business to fund it.
Yeah.
Because it's boring as heck, and you're also talking about mitigating risk of something that may or may not happen, which we're always doing in cyber, and is always a more difficult conversation than I can grow your top line by X in some other business unit. That's something the business transacts on much better.
We had a discussion on an earlier podcast this week with someone who was talking about autonomous security. So if we could take the boring bits and bytes and give it to agents that could potentially do those for you. What do you think about that?
I think that is an excellent thing to focus on.
Yes.
And as there are more and more capabilities being built into these platforms, like we'll pick the like Claude Cowork, right? And its ability to kind of do personal productivity orchestration. Think about systems productivity orchestration and patching.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, what if we can just make that go away to some extent and dramatically reduce the human intervention? Doesn't mean you leave it totally alone, but it goes from this incredibly expensive, labor-intensive, boring as all get out task to something that just clicks along at high speed. That would be amazing.
We're not quite there. I mean, we're not quite there, and I think we'll get there.
There's work that has to get there, but I do think there is a future where that can exist and be done well.
Yes, and I think we also have to have we talk a lot about the watchers watching the watchers. So the machine sort of being the overlay, being the judge, being the governor. But we also we talk a lot about the human in the loop. We have to make sure that there's human in the loop. We also talk about transparency, kill switch, and knowing where they've been and what privileges they have and which services they're setting up. All of that has to be built, really.
It does, and there are some kind of paradigms of the past that have to be adapted. So think about the concept of identity and identity for an agent.
Right.
An agent might last 11 seconds.
Yeah.
And so how do you
think about that? Who was talking about that on the podcast? Rock was talking about these ephemeral. Do you know Rock Lambros?
I don't know if I do, but I get the ephemeral problem.
It is definitely an ephemeral problem. The 11 seconds. Like
I mean,
and
that problem, having come from when I was at Mandy at the endpoint side, because we built our EDR, dealing with the ephemeral nature of like a VM and AWS, and how do you think about an agent in that context? What is that agent's identity? How do you ensure a newly substantiated instance does not pick up the same identity and you can tell it's a very hard problem on that scale.
Yeah.
Now think about, I'm an end user, I'm doing something, or I'm one of my software engineers, boom, there's 100 agents, they're going to work overnight, boom, they're gone. So there's some things that we've used in the past that we're going to break those models completely. There's going to be new approaches that have to be invented to solve it.
So at the moment we've got we've got three identities. We've got human, non-human, and agents. Generally speaking, at least that's what people have been saying to us. But there is this kind of blurring of the lines between a non-human and an agent. At the moment, non-human identities will be like services, service bots or whatever. But the agents could have this kind of new form of identity, which is a blend between the two.
And it may need to, just because of the volume, the dynamic nature is far greater than anything else that we've dealt with before. And because of how ephemeral it might be, and now I'm kind of making this stuff up out loud, and this is not my expertise. It's not building identity
it's
systems.
fun to make stuff up. You know, in the analyst world, we make stuff up all the time.
Oh, that's
so
true.
Go
yeah,
for
all
it.
right. Let's just make some shit up.
We'll prove you right later.
Yeah, great, awesome. I appreciate that. You can publish a paper or something.
That's right.
Merk was right.
Mark said this.
The other thing is, I mean, a service has well-defined behavior, and an agent does not. And so that's another aspect of it where the identity of that agent, when it existed and what it did, is even more critical because to get the true value, you've got to give the agent more agency.
Right.
But then you are also increasing the risk and or the challenge if you have to kind of figure out what did it do to determine how to address a malicious situation.
It's about autonomy, level of autonomy versus risk, versus the benefit versus the risk versus the cost, I suppose.
Versus the speed of doing business and being left behind. I mean, there's a lot of dynamics. I want to switch gears, and I don't know how much time we have, so let us know if we're getting to time.
We're doing good.
We're doing good.
8 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right,
or 7 minutes and 30
I
seconds.
wanted to switch, and Rory's going to be editing, so we can stop and start, and we'll get the files. But I wanted to switch gears and ask you what you think the future of your area, your pocket of security offerings are today. So I've been studying MDR for a long time.
Yep.
And we first met back when you were building out of your garage.
Yep.
And you may still be in the garage.
But only when I'm sent there by my family, but we don't work there anymore.
Okay, you grew beyond the garage. You have too many people. But what is the future of MDR? Because it is a rapidly consolidating, also expanding landscape.
Yeah, so let's see, how do I do this without turning it into a marketing pitch?
You can say, I don't know.
So, I mean, what we initially did is we decided that problem of produce security outcomes for customers was a technology problem, not a people problem, at a time when everybody was solving it with people. So we solved that, but we started building in 2016. So we have an architecture that is using a bunch of stuff to include a ton of machine learning and a whole bunch of different kind of more.
So wait a minute, you were doing autonomous SOC 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is part of my problem with this market is that we have MDR and autonomous SOC. They're the same market. Except autonomous SOC doesn't necessarily have humans.
Which
sometimes.
Well, or I could point. I'm not going to name the vendor, but I could go point at a booth out here which says autonomous SOC MSSP. I'm like, okay, there's people at the end of that. So there's a bit of a shell game going on with everybody in this space. And in my view, what you're going to end up with people that continue to do this well is you will have a technology platform. It will have a bunch of deterministic computer science. It will have large language models plugged into its pipeline and into its sort of triage and investigations in the areas where that technology works. And that will evolve over time as models change. And there's still going to be a set of people at the end of it for the customers that want it. For customers that don't want it and they just want to consume the platform, that's fine. But for customers that say, well, yeah, but then what do I do with what the platform tells me? Please just deal with it. There is still, for the near future, going to be some aspect of that. The thing that will change is your leverage. How many people do you need for how many customers and how much work? And anybody that says autonomous SOC, anybody that says MDR, and anybody that says AI SOC are in the same market. People go, no, they're not. The AI SOC people don't have SOCs. Guess what? Bullshit. They do. They keep trying to hire mine.
Okay.
So I can tell you for sure that's a lie.
Okay.
And so we're all in the same market. The thing is everybody talks different. And so once again in cyber, we're doing an amazing job confusing the poor buyer who has to deal with us as an adversary from a marketing standpoint and the actual adversary. And it's very frustrating.
Oh man, you just cracked the whip. I love that because the adversary within our own industry.
Yes. We are not helping the buyer with that behavior.
We are not helping them.
But capitalism drives you to it because you do have to try to differentiate to get the buyer's attention to get a chance to show them that what you do is great. I don't have a solution.
No, and we're back to politics.
Yeah, and by the way, for anybody that is an AI SOC vendor, autonomous SOC, I'm not throwing rocks at you. I'm not calling you out as a bad actor. You are responding to market forces and doing what you have to do just like I do. I'm not hating you as players, I'm hating the game.
Yeah, I got it.
I mean, what more can we say?
What more can we say? I mean, drop the mic right there.
I know, drop the mic.
I loved this chat.
Yeah.
Thank
This is fun.
you so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys. As our last podcast, this is a really good fun one to finish
Not
on.
last ever.
No.
This season? I'm the season closer?
You're
The
the
season
season
closer.
finale.
Yeah.
62.
No, you are the RSA 2026 finale.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Okay.
Okay,
There
that's
you
pretty
go.
good, though.
That's
good.
pretty
Yeah,
good.
okay.
We'll have
So-
you back on if you'd come.
Yeah, let me know.
Love that.
Would love to do it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks,
Thank
Christina.
you so
Thanks,
much.
Christina.
Good to be here.
Yeah,
so
please, do you want
folks.
to do the wrap up?
Yeah, so we should wrap this up now. Thanks, folks, for tuning in again. Hopefully, you can continue to listen to us on our weekly
And watch
podcast
us at least
and watch us at least for these
sometimes.
3-4 that we're doing for this week. Thanks for all your support and your comments and suggestions. Please get in touch with us. Christina at richmondadvisorygroup.com, Rory at richmondadvisorygroup.com. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.